All right, guys, so a few days ago, I did a podcast with one of my mentors, Kurt Davis. He's the one that introduced me to wholesale real estate. So that's where I got that foundation from to move on and start doing rehabs and just other things in real estate. And I'll 100% post the link to the podcast, and I think there's a video with it too in the description, so feel free to check out that interview. But during the podcast, I didn't really get a chance to talk about, or didn't even have it on my mind to talk about, some of the more interesting, just crazy things that have happened to me during real estate. So while it's on my mind now, I'll talk about just 3 crazy things that have happened to me during my real estate career. So to start the first story off, I do want to say that Memphis is a great city to live in. I've been here all my life, the place that I call home, but by no means is it a safe city. Gun violence is a thing that happens here, and it's not uncommon to hear like gunshots during the middle of the day in some areas, or even at nighttime. It's just been several days where I've heard just random gunshots, and it's a thing that happens here. So the first story revolves around that during a time when we were doing our live-in flip. And if you don't know what a live-in flip is, it's just when you buy a house at a discounted price and you move into the house and just do repairs while you're living there. The end goal being to sell the house in the future. So we were doing our live-in flip, living in this house, and it was during a night where I had just lost a really good friend to gun violence. So my nerves were already bad. I mean, just the entire mood of the night just wasn't good. And to say the least, I mean, neither me nor my wife were in just a good headspace after this had happened. We had went to visit my friend's house and just saw that the scene was full of police and everything, and the night just wasn't a good night. So after we had arrived back to our house and went to sleep, it was quiet. It was just very quiet when out of nowhere we were awakened out of our sleep by gunshots. They were back. This wasn't a pistol. I don't know what they were using, but it woke us up out of our sleep immediately. Neither one of us knew what was going on, but all we knew is that we heard gunshots right outside of our house. And like I said, we were already both in a bad headspace, so the first thoughts that came to our minds was, hey, we need to hit the floor because somebody is coming to get us. So here we are on the floor, and then I crawled to go and get my gun. We turned off the TV. There are no lights on in the house at that point, and we're just waiting to see what was going to happen next. So we're sitting here trying to peek through the window to see if anybody is outside, because again, like I said, it sounds like they were right outside our door, as loud as the gunshots were. We're trying to look outside without being seen by whoever it was, but then we noticed that, I mean, there was nobody on the street at that point. So we're sitting here and we're waiting, and it's just quiet until I think it was either me or my wife. We looked outside of the window and noticed that our next door neighbor had come outside, and then the neighbor across the street had come outside. And I can't remember if we called the police or not, but somebody eventually called the police. We went outside too and asked my neighbor what was going on. And it turns out somebody had just shot up the house 2 houses over from ours with some high power rounds. I mean, it sounds like they were maybe using like some type of rifles or whatever it was. But eventually the police did come and they went down to the house, but I don't think anybody ever opened the door. So fast forward to the next morning, and then we finally got a chance to see what kind of damage had been done. And I mean, the house is going from a good looking house to a house that was just full of holes. I mean, they had shot out the windows, shot out the car tires, just bullet holes in the side. And I mean, it was whoever had shot them up, they put a lot of rounds through this house. But word on the street was that the family that had moved into that house, and it wasn't too many months before the incident, but they were basically doing dirt out of the house. I don't know what kind of dirt, but they were doing some dirt out of the house, and somebody was looking to get them. The bad thing about the whole situation is that maybe 3 to 4 weeks later, the exact same thing happened again, to where whoever it was that came back shot the house up again. And after that, that family eventually moved out, and I mean, nothing like that ever happened again. It turned back into just being just this quiet, neighborhood where nothing went on. I mean, that was it. From that point on, we never had another issue in the neighborhood or anywhere close to it. All right, so number 2, and unfortunately it has to do around gunshots again. So I was in a neighborhood checking out a house for a potential pickup and resale, and I think I actually might have a walkthrough video of the house. If I do, then I'll post the walkthrough. But while I was inside of the house checking out everything by myself, just in this vacant house, I hear gunshots a street or two maybe behind the house. Maybe 5 or 6 rounds that just went off back to back. After whoever it was that was shooting stopped, I hear more gunshots, another 5 or 6 rounds coming from the left on the same street. Completely different sound. So it wasn't even the same gun, wasn't the same person coming from a different direction. After that person was done, I heard more gunshots coming from the right. Again, another type of gun, somebody else shooting, and to be honest, I don't know what was going on. All I know is that gunshots were coming from 3 different people from 3 different directions. I don't know if they were shooting at each other or not. I don't know if they were shooting in the air. All I know is that I was alone in this vacant house while a bunch of rounds were going off. And if you guys have watched some of my other videos, you know that for my own protection, I carry a gun too. So I put a round in the chamber, walk outside. I'm checking my surroundings to see if anybody else is around, if they're coming towards the house, whatever it is. All I know is that I got to get out of that neighborhood because it's a mini war going on, whatever is going on. But the street is deserted, nobody's outside. I make my way to my truck and I get out of there as quick as I can. But the whole thing about this and that neighborhood that was just amazing to me is that once I pulled off and went down the street, life was just going on as if nothing had happened, as if, 3 people weren't just shooting in the neighborhood. So a guy was mowing his lawn, somebody else was walking down the street. Go down just a bit more, somebody was having a barbecue. So life was just going on during that day like nothing had happened. Number 3, last story, and it does not have anything to do with guns, but you guys know that I talk about fleas. I have maybe 2 to 3 videos where I'm just talking about fleas. 100% can't stand the things. I've been into vacant houses before where I step in and then next thing I know, there are fleas on my legs. So this is my very first encounter with a flea, period. Had never seen a flea before, never experienced it in my own house, but they got me. So this was another vacant house that I had been called to check out for a possible purchase. And I've actually got a video of this whole incident, or the beginning parts of the incident. It kind of gets worse from there, but walking to the house, walking around, doing my videos and everything. And I noticed that something was biting me around my legs, around my ankles. I get out the house and notice that there are these little black spots on my legs. And then I realize that, hey, these are fleas. So right there on the street, I come out of my shirt, come out of my pants, come out of my shoes, come out of my socks, all of that on the street, just left it there. And I'm doing my best to just get all of these things off of me. I get back in my truck, pull off, leave the clothes there, get home. And I mean, I covered myself from head to toe in just flea spray, just trying to make sure I got them all off. And as far as I know, hey, I'm good to go. I can walk on the inside. And it turns out I was completely wrong. No matter what I did, how much poison I had on me, all this flea spray, got rid of the clothes, bombed my car, all of that, we still ended up getting fleas in the house. And it's just crazy the way that they can just come in and reproduce off of one. We would be asleep in the bed and then just notice like, hey, I got a bite on me, and then we would see like one flea. Kill that one flea, spray everything, we think we're good to go. Next day, okay, we see another 2 fleas. There's one on the carpet, one on the wall. Kill that flea, spray again. And then it just went on like that for a couple of weeks to where we would just see random fleas. And every time we would kill one, we would see another one in the sink, on the wall, just wherever. it got so bad to the point that it was driving us crazy, because it was never like there were just a bunch of fleas in the house. We would just see 2 to 3 here, 3 or 4 here, 2 to 3 here. After we thought that we had killed all of them, it was like, okay, they're still around. We need to do something about this. And if you guys have ever checked it out, there's this movie called Bug. I think it's on Netflix now or whatever, but it's about this couple, and no matter what they do, they keep seeing these bugs. Clearly they're having some like mental issues, but they just keep seeing these bugs, and they just go to the extremes to try to get rid of them, to the point where it's just driving them crazy. That's how we felt. We were spraying every day. I mean, covering ourselves in like lemon oil or whatever kind of tea tree oil, whatever it was, just so they wouldn't bite us. We were covering the baby's legs in oil and everything. And even after we just did everything that we could personally, and even getting to the point to where we just got it taken care of professionally, it messed with our minds so bad that after they were all gone, whenever we saw even just a black spot, it could be anything, we thought it was a flea. Or if we just felt like a slight itch on our skin, we would think that it was a flea. And to be honest, I halfway still kind of do that now. So when you're seeing us on these videos and we're talking about these fleas, it's because it messed us up in the head that bad. But anyway, guys, just want to drop some more content while we're still working on finishing out this house, doing the last touch-ups on it, and then we'll have to clean up. We'll be doing a before and after, and I'll 100% be dropping some more videos soon, so make sure you stay tuned. See you guys next time. Peace.